Okay, again, I'm Robert C. Dupree, and I just wanted to bring out to the attention again of the American peoples, concerning a young man who have given this full consent testimony here, as I stated previously, and what really stands out also is that how he mentioned that his one of person in management while he was in orientation stated that the company here, General Mills, here in the Kansas City area, down here in the North Bottoms, was known for its dark ages. And, I just want to make known to the American peoples that, I was, Robert C. Dupree was also a part of continuously battling and fighting for my civil rights as part of this dark age. As the young gentleman here, it was brought to his attention for at the time he wasn't aware of what was going on. And, and I just want to bring to the American people's attention that you can see a lot of this here concerning General Mills' dark ages that was brought out to the young man's attention by management when he was in orientation. You can see that right here in my web page here, from 1 all the way up to 42, 43, 5, 6, and so forth. And, and from 1 to 5, it speaks about the hang noose stain here. And I was also interviewing a young man who gave his chilling testimonies, about how he has been treated and how the individual who brought this hang noose, or individuals who brought the hang noose to throw out before the young man here, and then call him over to it, laughing at him and whatever. The only thing they received was just a 3-day suspension. And yes, it made news. This was back in 2007. When this here occurred, and he even spoke about how he was retaliated against because management told him, the individual concerning the hang noose violation or hate crime act against him. Management told the young man who was the victim that if you don't like what we have given to the individual, I call him the racist employee who brought this hang noose rope, more or less, if you don't like our decision that we made, which is more or less giving him 3-day suspension, and that was it, well, then why are you still here? So these are some of the things here we refer to, also the dark ages that management was informing the young man that, the company is known for its dark ages. And if you go to part 7, you will also see how General Mills originally was boycotted back in '03, and I was a part of that boycott because I was still fighting for my civil rights, just like I'm still fighting right now, which I would touch bases on as well. And you'll see individuals who spoke out against the prejudice and the racism and stuff, and sexism and racism and stuff that was involved in this particular incident here back in 2003, when I believe even community activist Alonzo Washington was even involved in this, like he was also involved in the one concerning with the hang noose here in '07 concerning General Mills. And you can look at these sites here when you go and click on them and see what it is that management was referred to concerning this company here, General Mills, in the Kansas City area, down here in the North Bottoms, concerning the dark ages. And there is also witnesses and testimonies of individuals who have given me their full consent to record them live, with the recording and audio to post these things here. And if you also, you can look at 16 and 20 about a former employee. He was also brought to my attention that she was reading one of the flyers that was put out concerning to one of the other employees who was discriminated against and what had happened to her, and they even gave her chilling experience of how she had to retire and so forth. So there's a whole lot of discrimination things that's going on, and this web page of mine is just not something that's just been posted to try to slander a company. These postings are, say, exhibits in our federal courts, and I believe I mentioned that earlier, in our federal courts here downtown in Kansas City area over here, also in the Wyandotte Court over in Kansas, is also an exhibit in the Federal Court of the U.S. Appeals up in St. Louis, and it's also an exhibit here within the United States Supreme Court in Washington, D.C. So these exhibits and things that I'm referring to, they know they are exhibits, and also obviously, those who may know a little bit about the law is also protected concerning to the federal rules of evidence and supporting laws and so forth that support this web page as well as with the evidence that it consists. And I even thought about another young man who gave me his full consent to even put his experience out. If you look at part 34 up to 40, how that he even stated that it was brought to his attention and that he experienced a lot of the racism and stuff that he had underwent and went through. So, General Mills is definitely, unfortunately to say, is a very racist company behind the scenes, because stuff is still going on. And then here in 2013, where a young man had allowed me to record him on a 90-minute audio tape concerning his experience, as I stated earlier, how that General Mills basically fired him for getting into it or an argument with a non-employee who initiated this argument by her cussing and threatening him out and so forth. And the evidence was clearly shown that even his relief girlfriend had even texted this young man saying that she was going to send his relief down there to mess him up, basically to cause him to get fired. And unfortunately, this is what happened. Despite the evidence that was presented, well, General Mills still turned around and fired the young man here in 2013. September the 16th, 2013. So, and the practice of racism is still going on behind the scenes. And even if you, I believe, like I mentioned earlier in part 3, where this young gentleman concerning the hang noose Discrimination Hate Crime Act that was brought against him, he was saying how that there is incidents and things where blacks are being rolled up and disciplined, where when whites do certain things are similar or worse, they're not. So, and it is a black and white thing. So this kind of stuff is still going on behind the scenes, and even in my own personal battle concerning this company and how that General Mills here, corporate General Mills, whatever, they have a lot of pull, unfortunately, or allowed to have a lot of pull, even in our judicial system among certain lawyers and certain judges. Now, I'm talking about my own personal battle that has still been going on with General Mills for over now 13, 14 years. They fired me December 27th of 99, and here it is, 2014, and I'm still battling and fighting for my rights because of a lot of the conspiracy against rights that this company has been allowed, to use our judicial court system behind the scenes. What I mean, use the judicial court system behind the scenes. Falsifying records, stuff that has been proven to be false. The settlement of full release, that's proven to be a product of fraud and deceit. Deceiving and sending false documents and things that, and according to the law, this type of behavior and stuff, the law says is criminal. Sending false documents with certificate of services, sending false documents, notary, sending false documents stating that something is true and they know it's not true, alleging that I didn't file in a timely manner. And they know I did. But yet, there's nothing really being done about it. And unfortunately, I had to file a complaint against one of the district judge or the federal judge, because he not only closed my case in its entirety with prejudice, knowing that summary judgment should have been ruled in my favor, but intentionally left off documents from the civil docket sheet, making it appear that those documents never existed or never been filed. And when I showed him and informed the Court of Appeal that this is what occurred, this is what happened, I even sent a motion to send down to the judge and to send to the district court or the federal court to send all documents up. Well, that motion were denied, despite the federal rules of the Court of Appeal states and alleging regarding documents and things that had been retained by the federal court or the district court, they must send up. It's not if they feel like it, they must send it. Well, it didn't happen. And continuously over and over, and even right now here in 2014, I am still petitioning our United States Supreme Court in Washington, D.C. concerning these issues and conspiracy against rights and the settlement of full release fraud and deceit, and still perpetually being deprived and denied continuously. And you can see part of what I'm saying back down up over here in part, what's that, 42 and 43 of my well page here. And even 41, you'll hear me actually talking to the clerk, and 43, concerning civil rights and how that the courts is just, at their own discretion here, the Supreme Court that is, at their own discretion, either they're going to hear it, receive it, hear it, see it, or just reject it. And my concern is, where do we stand at? And when I state we, I'm not just talking about just African Americans, but as you know earlier, I mentioned that specifically African Americans, but all of us, regardless of what race, creed, or color you are, because if you're a citizen of the United States, you have civil and constitutional rights. And if those rights have been compromised because corporate America, in this case it's General Mills here in the North Bottoms, in the Kansas City area, in this cause of action I know for sure, is being allowed to compromise civil and constitutional rights and authorities that uphold civil rights, well then where do we stand? This may be my personal battle, but yet it is directly or indirectly where it affects us all. Because if corporation is allowed to just get certain lawyers or certain judges to close a blind eye and turn a deaf ear to laws and things that protect our rights, the question is, where do we stand? Where will we stand? So I just wanted to bring to the American people concerning what the young man stated about his, management when he was in orientation, that, General Mills here was known for the dark ages. Well, you can see a lot of that right here in this web page. And as I stated earlier, this web page is not just something where I'm trying to slander a company. Unfortunately, this is real. This is something that is still happening behind the scenes. And I believe if you go to part 11, you could hear me mention and talking about how that, a lot of the employees, they was afraid for coming forth and telling the truth, because they know they'll wind up being retaliated and fired. And even the union has this information. Go to part 9. You'll hear me talking concerning civil rights of violation, and then you also hear me talking to the union rep during that time when my situation was being investigated and undergoing, investigation to see what was going on. And you can actually hear my union rep speak and talk about how that there was those who was actually afraid of being retaliated against. So let's go to part 9. You can hear that, when it gets to that part and that level after I get through explaining some of the issues that I have been through. And, and a lot of this is still going on behind the scenes. And there's individuals down here right now, still at General Mills in the North Bottoms here in the Kansas City area, have been there for over 20, 25, 30 years. And a lot of them, they are not really trying to make, as they say in the old school, trying to ruffle the feathers or rock the boat or create problems. They are trying to just retire and get up out of there and go ahead on about their lives. And they know that if they did really try to make an issue or bring something out to agree with what I'm saying, chances are General Mills will find out about it, and these individuals will probably wind up being fired. They will probably wind up being fired, and they got too many of their years of their lives invested in this here to try to retire and get up out of there, so they don't want to compromise that and wind up being fired and terminated. And the union is fully aware of this here. It's like the union is fully aware with this young man who just recently given me his consent to record and to testify how the company treated him wrongfully, racially, and the union allowed it and didn't do anything about it despite the evidence that was brought out. So I just want to bring to the American peoples to, whenever you have time of you to just take time and look at the site, and you would also see and hear a lot of what this particular management had told this young man in regards to General Mills here in the Kansas City area down in North Bottom was considered to be known as the Dark Ages. It is all right here in my video. Is where they've been boycotted as well, and they've been on the news twice, and also concerning the hang noose and a lot more.